Hey, what's up, everybody? Big D in the place to be. I'm here with my son Spencer on addiction and recovery talk. This is episode 14, and we're gonna just kind of pick up where we left off from last week. We left off with telling stories about what we went through after my wife's relapse and how everything got shook up. Ultimately, my parents came and helped me for a while, and then they asked me if it would be all right for them to take the kids to Georgia, and we would just do this contracting 1 year at a time. I was getting ready to start doing my apprenticeship for operating engineers, and so that was going to be 4 years. And we didn't know what was going to go on and how things were going to go down with their mother. So at that point, I think I gave her a few chances, and she kept relapsing. So that's what my parents came up with. My uncle, my father's brother died, so they had to go to North Carolina to deal with that, and they just wanted to go back to their home in Georgia because they hadn't stayed with me for probably a couple of months at least by that time. So I'm just going to ask Spencer, you know how it was for him. Well, let me tell you. Let me start and talk about what went on with me. So I told you guys, because that was around March when my uncle died. I was getting ready to, April, something like that. I was getting ready to start the operating engineers, and the first 2 weeks, what they call it, orientation period. So you don't get paid for that, but you got to go up there every day, Monday through Friday, like 8 hours, and do all different type of things. And then you start, and you become, then you have an initiation date. So my initiation date was June 30th. So in the middle of June, I had to go for 2 weeks. So before that, I guess I had like 2 months before that started, just working, trying to keep it moving. I was struggling financially, but I held on. And I got to talk about this one little thing that happened. I told you guys me and my first wife sold prescription medication. We sold Oxycontins and Percocets. So she was gone. She was, struggling in and out of rehab using. My kids were gone. My father went back, took them. One day, this just shows you, I had been clean at that point, probably close to 10 years.
Damn.
I found one Oxycontin. I found one pill. And I thought about taking that pill because, just things weren't going good in my life. And it was like that pill was talking to me. I was looking at that pill, staring at it. And I never did opiates. I wanted to say, what's the big deal with all this? But the reason why I didn't take it, the big reason was I didn't start the apprenticeship program yet. And I don't think that I had got the date yet, but I knew it was coming. I think that's what happened. I knew I started in June, but I think I was waiting for the mails to let me know exactly when I was going to start. So I didn't use the pill, but I put it away. You know what I mean? Because I was like, if I take the pill, and then they call me to take a drug test, I could fail. So that kept me from taking the pill. So at that point, I just started immersing myself in the meetings. And before all this went down, going into my 9th year, I want to say, let's just say January of 2003, I really stopped making meetings. I didn't really go. We were selling the pills. I was working like, oh man, all the overtime I could muster. We had the daycare. We were doing good. So we thought financially. And I was always planning on going to a meeting, but I was always like, oh, I'll go tomorrow. And it's crazy how like you might have intentions to do something, and then you fall off, and then just the further away you get from it, the harder it is to go back, to doing the thing that got you where you were. Because in the beginning, and me, I didn't do everything correctly with the meetings and all that stuff, but I went. That was my community. I was there on a regular basis, and it helped me stay clean, regardless if I got a sponsor or home group and all that stuff, which I didn't do. So I started putting my best foot forward with that. I got a sponsor, a home group, and then eventually I got to notice to be in the operating engineers, and my focus was to be the best at that I can be, and be the best at recovery process. And I was on a mission, and it ended up being a 4-year mission. And me and my mom and dad did this contract once a year. We signed it, and that's how it went for me. And by time 4 years went by, I was entrenched in narcotics. We're not supposed to say what we're the fellowship's name. It's like one of the traditions. But I mean, let's just face it. Everybody knows it's either AA or NA. I mean, those are 12-step programs, and there's other ones for overeating, and so I was involved in those programs, and it was a way of life, and so that's what I did until finally I was able to bring them back. So, Spencer, can you talk about what it was like for you in those 4 years of being pulled from Philadelphia and going to Georgia and being down there for, I think it was like at least 4 years. It was my whole apprenticeship, so it was 4 years at least.
Yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a different experience. Not only like moving from like the city, like a city environment, to the country, that was a big difference. And like you said, moving from you and mom to grandma and granddaddy was a big difference.
Yeah.
Because they were old school, so their ways were a lot different than what I was used to. And it definitely took some getting used to, especially in the beginning. And I was always a bad kid, so like, I don't know, it took a lot of, I had a lot of learning experiences down there where, I don't know, they just raised me, and I feel like that's the reason I kind of have like an old soul, kind of, like because I really got a lot of my early like teachings and learnings from grandma and granddaddy, and it definitely got to be normal when I was down there. Like, I got into the routine, going to school every week, church, doing chores around the house. That's because before that we never really had to like clean up anything around the house, or like never had like chores to like do specifically. But once we got down there, we had to do things like we got to take care of the yard, take care of the fish pond, the dog. Like I was waking up at like 7 o'clock every morning to clean the filters of the pond, feed the dog, all, so it really started like a lot of my training was like down there. And a lot of it's still with me, like a lot of it stuck with me, and I see it now coming out in my life more as I get older. I definitely grew used to the country though, like the slow paced environment, like the wide openness, it's completely different. Like southern people and northern people, like people up north, up here they're like mean and like nasty and like they'll curse you out. Like down south, like, you don't really get that. Like, everybody's nice, they love each other, they try to like make they talk about God all the time. Like that's one thing I don't see up here. Like we don't talk about God up here nearly as much as we do down south. And it was a big difference, but I'm glad I went through that, because it gave me, like I said, the teachings and the trainings that I have now, and like my mindset now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Basically, me and you were raised by the same people, but I got raised by them when they were younger, so they were different. They were, like, for instance, my father, was really tough on me, and then he was tough on you, but it was a different style. You know what I mean? He was in his 60s when I would say. He was in his prime when I was a kid. He was big and strong, and a lot more impatient because he worked a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were basically raised by the same people. My mother wasn't a born again Christian when I was a kid, so she was so different. But like I put my best foot forward because I didn't like the fact that I wasn't raising my kids. And you would think a guy would be like, I was in my 30s. You guys are down in Georgia. I had a whole house in Philly. Not saying I didn't have some fun, but, and I did, but I was focused on the end game. And I was on a mission, and I wanted to complete that mission. And I ended up doing that. Getting y'all back and raising y'all eventually. And my parents kind of were sad about it. They were used to having you guys.
Yeah, but so they had to have been used to us by then.
Yeah, I think even, you wanted to come back. You know what I mean? I think the girls did too, but it was like they were torn.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like a bittersweet thing.
Right.
Like we wanted to so bad, but then like we had already made like
friends,
a life down there, and like we were like used to that that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it was definitely bittersweet, but we definitely did want to come back.
Yeah, and then I brought y'all back into a situation which, hindsight's 2020. I should have never did that. I should have brought y'all back with just me. And so now I bring y'all back with I'm thrusting you guys into, this is your stepmom. You met the woman in December of 2008, and 6 months later, on my birthday, June 25th, 2009, I'm basically saying, come on guys, because I went to go pick you guys up in Philly, and it didn't start out good because me and her had a big argument. We were supposed to all go together to pick y'all up. And I don't know, maybe the gravity of what was going to happen like settled in with her. Because now she's got to have 3 kids, coming to live with her that she met 6 months ago and hung out with, I don't know, few days.
Yeah.
And so now you guys are coming to live. And so like, I remember me being excited. It was my birthday, and my mom and dad bring y'all to Philly because they had a key to my house. And we, I still had the house in Philly. I was going to be renting it out starting in July. But my mom and dad drove up with you guys, went straight to the house. And so I was going to meet y'all there, pick y'all up. And then my mother and father were going to come visit, I think the next day. I think that's how it was planned. Because I know when I went to go get you guys, just me, you, Giovanna, and Livy drove back to Cherry Hill. And I drove back, like, feeling like, damn, I just had a big argument. And I exploded and because I got impatient because she was dragging her feet about coming to get you guys. And I was excited. And it got to the point where, my anger took over. And I'm coming back with you guys, and exploded on her. And it's like, I think it was like me. It might have been like our first really,
like big fight.
I think so. And here it is. We're supposed to get married August 1st. So it's like June 25th. And now we got all of this, me and my 3 kids who I have not raised and lived with for 4 years too. So like when I look back on that, man, that was crazy, man. And then
Mhm.
her daughter, her youngest daughter, was going to be living there. Her other daughter was in college, so she came to visit. She didn't live with us, so but she ended up being a factor too, but not a major factor. But in a way, she did become a factor.
Yeah.
But and you know, as we know, she ended up dying from overdosing on drugs, and so that's like drugs has just been like a major part of my life and story, man. So many different levels, man. Like
Every part of it.
can't get escape drugs, and it's like and then you became an addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, what the hell, man? But you know, today we're in a good place. But yeah, man. Oh, just want to bring this up because not a lot of people, like you talked about the North and the South, and talking about God, and it's crazy. Like, you know, we heard a lot about God. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And even me, I'm on all different. I'm on Facebook. I was on Facebook for years. I've been on Instagram maybe a couple years now. TikTok couple months, whatever it's been. But I really don't broadcast anything like about God, so to speak, on social media. You know, I talk about once in a while. I'll talk about narcotics. Oh, I keep saying it. Can't help it. I'm just gonna say it. Narcotics Anonymous. What the hell? And you know, when something happens, whatever, like the anniversary of my parents' death, I'll say shout out to them. I talk mostly about, especially on Instagram, my physical fitness, what I'm doing, and kind of Facebook, same thing. But you know, things have been turning around for you, and it's funny because your mother will text me about something you post on Facebook, and you've been posting about God. You know what I mean? And I commend you for that. I told you the other day, not that I'm going to be doing that too. I mean, I don't know. That's my personal belief. I believe in God, Jesus, you know, the Holy Spirit. That's I'm not ashamed of it or nothing. But I just commend you for putting it out there. And I've seen miracles happen to you in your life.
Oh yeah.
And you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, especially this past, like, I'll say like since like the beginning of the year, you know, my life just made like a complete 180, and you know, it was pretty rough. You know, before the beginning of this year, I was struggling finding a job and going through legal stuff, and I was fighting a case and all types of stuff, and couldn't find a job nowhere, and it's like the beginning of the year. I don't know what happened. It's just I could only like describe it as, you know, God blessing me with like the amount of like things I was looking at as like my problems, like the amount of those things that resolve themselves in the amount of time that they did. Like it has to be a higher power, you know, God that did this, because like just like stuff like that doesn't normally like happen. Like I got the interview letter for the union in the beginning of 1 week, and then the end of that week I got a letter in the mail saying that my case got dropped because, you know, they like the detective did some like, you know, slimy shit, and it wasn't like legitimate, so they dropped my case. What else?
Your health.
I got this medicine I'm supposed to be taking because I have Crohn's disease and arthritis. So I got accepted for this medicine, and I started taking the medicine like 2 weeks after that. And then I got an interview date with the union, letter in the mail. Then, so, you know, I was all hype about the union and everything. But then the next little thing that came up was, how am I going to get to the jobs? Like, I don't have a car. I wasn't working for this past however long, so I had no money saved up, no nothing. And you know, your friend just gave me his car like for free. He was moving back to his home state or whatever, and he wasn't going to use the car that he had in New Jersey anymore. So he just gave me basically a car for free. And then I got with another doctor that said that the medicine I was taking was underdosing, so I got the actual correct dosage of medicine I was supposed to be taking. So that everything is just like started to work itself out, and like I had no part in helping like doing any of it. Like it just it all just fell into my lap. Like,
and the medicine make you feel better, right?
Yeah, like the medicine makes my body feel better. I'm more active. I could like, you know, I'm not always in pain. Like it's completely changed my life.
Right.
Like, and like I didn't do any, like I was just doing the same thing. I was home all day, like just waiting for something to happen, just staying faithful and just waiting for the blessings to come. And then they just started rolling in. Yeah. Like one after that, like bang, bang, bang. It was like almost every day something crazy was happening. Like, yo, like what is this?
Oh, tell them how the interview went.
Oh, the interview went wonderful. It was funny because when I pulled up with my mom, I had like a little button-up shirt and like some black pants on, so it wasn't like I looked neat, but I wasn't like, you know, I didn't look like professional or whatever. And then when we pulled up to the hall, we saw all the rest of the people that were there that got interviews too. They were like in like 3-piece Sunday suits, like they were in tuxedo, like they were like dressed to the, even like the women were like in business suits, like pantsuits. I was like, oh man, I think I was like, I didn't come prepared. Like, so, you know, I started stressing about that. And then when I walked in there to go do the interview with the business agent, we kind of just sat down and he was like, you know, talking to me all like professional like, and like, you know, conducting the interview, writing down my answers and stuff. And then we got to a question and it was, why do you want to be in the union? And I was like, well, my dad's in the union. He's an operator. And he was like, well, who's your dad? And so I told him, I was like, Derek Robertson. And he just dropped his pen and he was like, well, you should have said that from the beginning. And then he didn't even ask me another question on the interview, so he just started filling out the answers for me. Like he was like, yeah, this is what they want to hear. This is what they want. And he was like, I mean, basically without telling me, like, basically I'm in based off the fact that you're an operator already. And they're very family oriented. And he was like, yeah, you know, your dad's a great man, a great father, and a great operator. And, you know, we love him here. So he put on the thing, look forward to working with me. And it just went really, really successful. And even that, like, I didn't think like I was presentable enough to even to you know, I thought I had underpresented myself, but it just goes to show it's not what you know, it's who you know. And definitely once I said your name, it changed the whole momentum of the interview. It went from like he was kind of just like cookie cutter interview to like, okay, yeah, you're good. He was like falling asleep in the chair. He was like waiting for his pizza to come up. He was like feet kicked back, just chill. We were just chilling in there. Like it wasn't even an interview. It was like we were just chilling, talking. He's like, oh yeah, how's your day? Yeah, good. Yeah, da 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 da. Just writing the answers for me. It was amazing. It was crazy.
Yeah, and for my part, I can look back on being in the struggle of, like, I didn't know anybody in the union. I talked my way into it, and I basically asked for an opportunity, and I got it, and I just worked my butt off at staying clean and getting into the recovery process. And it's good. It feels good for me, like all these years later, to like be able to help my son get in. I mean, it's not official yet. We didn't get the letter yet, but we feel great about it. You know, we're in a good position, and this will change, you know, his life, which will, you know, like, I mean, I'm just going to be real with you. I kind of dedicated my life to these three human beings that are my children. I've always put them first above myself because I felt and I feel like I'm supposed to. Like, everybody's getting to a place where they're going to be fully self-supporting because it's something I learned in the meetings, to be fully self-supporting, and taking care of your business and helping them get to that point. And his sister's getting ready to be a nurse in June, and his other sister is trying to find her way with like TikTok and all this stuff. She wants to be a personality with that, and she's got all these followers. So we're praying everybody is happy and healthy and could do what they want to do and take care of themselves. That's all you want for your children, is them to be able to grow up and take care of themselves, because I'm not going to live forever. You know what I'm saying? My parents didn't. Everybody, well, it's the one thing about life, nobody's getting out of here alive. You know, everybody's going to eventually die. I hope to live a long time, but that doesn't mean I will. You know what I mean? That's a hope. That's something I strive to live my best life every day. But nothing's promised, man. For me, that I stayed vigilant and I worked hard every day, even when sometimes, man, you know how life is. You don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like doing the right thing. You just want to, lay around and sometimes feel sorry for yourself. Like, why me? And I always looked at it like I have an opportunity. And going back to the person who raised me and him, so to speak. I mean, because whatever my father taught him for those years, it made an impression on him. Like, some things my father taught him that it's undeniable, that it's definitely from him, not me. And I'm cool with that, because that's the man who raised me. And and to be raised by a tough guy like him, I mean, it's almost like you want to prove to him that you could be a man. He's one of those guys. It's like he was a man. You know what I mean? He was just like, it's like I want to prove to him that I could be the man. I can make it happen. I can do what I'm supposed to do. And I told him, I said, dude, the stuff that's going on in your life, man, is making me like. And I go to church and stuff like that. I do. I mean, I believe in God. I pray. I've always prayed. I mean, my mother talked to me about God so much. It's like almost like, how can I not? And I also looked at the evidence of how they lived and the stuff they did and how they helped me with my children. And like, they gave me an opportunity to just focus on my recovery and the union for 4 years. I didn't have to worry about my kids. They were taken care of, and I talked to them every day. I saw them every 6 months. I had a goal, a mission. I did it. And then even when you get what you want in life, you got to work to keep it. And then, like I found out you can't control your children, especially him. This dude was something else, man. I went through a lot, man, a lot.
Definitely.
A whole lot, man. And, like, this is the best me and him ever gotten along, man. And I can't wait for the day he gets that letter from the union.
I know.
Because I feel like he's going to be better at it than me, because that's his passion. He likes to fix things, and he's a very mechanical inclined person. So, like, this is something we could share to, like, his father and son, like, being members of a union and a brotherhood and a family. Like they say it's family oriented. Like, for me to, endorse my son and them to embrace him means a lot to me, because they've been there for me. And I was able to, as a single dad living in Jersey, I mean, Jersey's expensive.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The taxes alone, and just like, I wanted my kids to go to Cherry Hill, like, even after I broke up with their stepmom. I didn't want to take them out of Cherry Hill to go somewhere else. I wanted them to continue to go there, and I was able to make that happen. And everybody went to Cherry Hill East, and graduated. And he went down the road he went, but that's the road I went. Trouble with the law, trouble with drugs, but coming up out of it and being better for it. And his mom texts me stuff he posts on Facebook about God. I'm like, wow. A lot of people don't do that because it's crazy because it's not popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got people texting me from like back in the day. They're like, "Are you okay, bro?" Like on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. There's one person I know. They texted me the other night at like midnight. They were like, "Yo, bro, you alright?" I was just like, "Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm doing great." They're like, "Oh, we were just checking on you." I was like, "Yeah, no, everything's good." Like,
right. But if you was posting stuff about like,
yeah, they never hit me up when I post any other post.
Let's say let's say Taylor Swift or that dude she dates. If you were texting about them every day, they wouldn't even think,
Yeah, they wouldn't think too.
And that stuff don't mean nothing. It hasn't, it doesn't really mean nothing for you or any of us. But we idolize stuff like that. But you talk about God or something positive, like they want to know if you're all right.
Yeah, I'm going through something. I'm like, man, I'm going through. I am going through something, a positive change.
Yeah, right. And you're sharing about it because it makes you feel good. And that's powerful because a lot of people are worried about what other people think and how they perceive us. But the evidence is so strong for you, you don't care.
Nah.
And my mother used to say something to me a lot. She used to say, people have no heaven or hell to put you in.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's true, man. They can think you're crazy. They can say, oh, he's off the... That's why I live my life like I do. And I do what makes me happy because people have no heaven or hell to put you in. And when you're down and when you're broken, they're nowhere around.
Gone.
And they don't want to even really... People say, they talk a good game, but deep down, people... You only really... If you got one or two friends, you're very blessed because I know thousands of people, you know what I mean? But can I call them at 2 a.m. when I really need something?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another level, you know what
True.
I mean? That's another level. And, it's all good. It is what it is. But like we were raised with God and Jesus, and
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to say he will never leave you or forsake you.
Nope.
And so I live by my higher power because I've been involved in this 12-step program, and one of the things they encourage you to have is a higher power. And the thing about that is we don't care who or what it is, just as long as it's loving and caring and greater than yourself. So that's what we have. We have a higher power that's loving and caring and greater than we are. And so with that, man, I'm going to end, and it's been another episode of Addiction and Recovery Talk. Peace out.